Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. A happy and healthy and prosperous 2025 to everyone. This is our first show, my first show in the new year for 2025. And my guests for this show are artist Mini Mukherjee. She's got some exciting projects coming up, and also our money saving tips expert Ashley Schuering. She's become a regular, and she's going to share with us some money saving tips for the month of January. So join me for these interviews, our first interviews of the new year. Discover the timeless secrets of Italian cuisine with a basic art of Italian cooking series by Maria Liberati. That's me. From fragrant basil to silky olive oil, each page is a culinary masterpiece. Taste the passion, embrace the tradition, and create your own masterpieces in the kitchen with my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Buon appetito, and you can find the books on Amazon.com, Kindle, on marialiberati.com, and on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. So, she's a regular now. Ashley Schuering is with us today, and she's from the blog Confessions of a Grocery Addict, and she's got some great tips to share about doing homemade gifts this time of the year. Ashley, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me again, Maria. It's always good to see you.
You too. So I think that's a great idea. I actually prefer homemade gifts than, the socks and all that other stuff, pajamas and all. I think there's such a more of a connection with a homemade gift that somebody actually took the time and made the gift for you. It really means a lot.
I
Um,
think so too. I think it's a lovely way to share. I'm somebody who feeds people as a way to show my love. So I think
yes,
it's just a natural
a
extension of
natural
that.
extension, exactly. So tell us what ideas did you have for doing homemade gifts?
Sure. So I feel like everybody, is really used to doing normal cookie platters, but
Uh-huh.
at this point in the year, people are probably overwhelmed with how many sweets they have in the house.
Yes.
So I like to kind of branch out away from that.
Uh-huh.
A couple of my favorite things, I love doing a big batch of granola. I've got a restaurant-sized recipe on the site that makes 4 pounds, so that's enough for
Wow.
like 4 to 8 gifts, and you do it all in
Exactly.
one go. It's like
Uh-huh.
15 minutes worth of effort, and you mix it, spread it out on a sheet pan, bake it, and stir a few times. That's all you have
That's
to do.
great. And that's a good, it's an easy snack that people can take with them and, or the kids can take to school and makes life easier. Definitely. Granola is definitely, that's a great idea. And I guess they can package it in mason jars or whatever kind of containers they
They
want
even have
to.
like cute little like wax sealed bags, that you can just
Oh,
fold over that are really
yes,
in it. And then homemade jams and preserves, I think, are always a favorite.
definitely.
If you're a planner, you can do that in the summer to use up your bounty. But even if you're not, you can just as easily make a batch using frozen fruit, or you can
Uh-huh.
use in-season fruit. Right now, you could do any kind of citrus marmalades. You could do apple butter or apple preserves, pear compote. There's lots of things that you could do now, and again, not super difficult to do.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also like to do meal coupons, and I know some people are like, "Oh, this is just silly. Nobody's ever going to redeem them." But I
Uh-huh.
think it's a really great thing for older folks, people who live alone, or families with
Right.
kids, and just
Right.
give them a little coupon that says good for dinner for X number of people with X days notice. That's the
Uh-huh.
key. Make sure
Key.
you give yourself a little
Yes.
bit of time.
That's a great idea.
And then there's some fun drinks you can do also. So you can
Uh-huh.
do hot chocolate.
Hmm.
So it's easy to make hot chocolate bombs, and you can get little silicone molds in just about any kind of shape. So you could definitely do ones that are just plain and round, which is generally my suggestion because then you can use the mold all year round. But they
Mm-hmm.
also have really cute ones that are like holiday themed.
Uh-huh.
You can also make hot cocoa mixes that go into mason jars, and that's another cheap one. It's sugar, powdered milk, cocoa. That's about it.
Exactly.
Hot chocolate spoons. You can dip wooden or plastic spoons repeatedly into melted chocolate to build up a like certain amount on there, and then you
Uh-huh.
can sprinkle on crushed peppermints, mini marshmallows, all of that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um, you can do homemade tea mixes using just go somewhere and get bulk dried spices and
Uh-huh.
herbs. You can dry fruits also, and then you can either keep it easy and leave it in a loose leaf form in like a mason jar with a little metal tea infuser, or you can buy online like little single use tea sachets, like they're paper almost, and you just staple them
Yes.
shut.
Yes.
Um, if you do love the idea of cookies, rather than giving people baked cookies, since everybody already has a ton of desserts probably at
Yes.
this point,
Now. Mm-hmm.
give them a mix in a mason jar. So, in January or February, when
Ah,
they're feeling like they
yes.
want something sweet, all they have to do is throw in some butter and eggs and bake it off.
That's a good idea. One thing that I've gotten as a gift, and I really love it, is a soup, like homemade
Yes,
soup mix. So somebody did, what they did was they put like dried beans, they layered it with different things and dried vegetables, beans, and I forget spices, herbs, dried herbs, things like that. And then they actually had a ribbon around the top and there was like a little card with a recipe for the soup. So I thought that was a
I
great
love
idea.
that. And it's
Uh-huh.
so pretty and it's healthy. I
It
just love
is.
that.
It is.
Um,
Yes.
There are a couple of other things. DIY advent calendars. I know, generally speaking, advent calendars are leading up to, but you can always gift it for the 12 days of Christmas, which actually
Yes.
starts on Christmas and goes through Epiphany on January 6th.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you can use either old toilet paper rolls if you save those things, or just use solo cups. So what
Uh-huh.
you'll do is like glue them onto, a piece of cardboard, and then
Right.
put little treats in there, and then put tissue paper over the top with a number, and it's
Uh-huh.
super cute and super
Oh,
easy.
wow. That is cute. Great idea. Yeah, definitely. That's a great
Um,
idea.
And then I'm really into sourdough. So you can either do baked goods or you can make like a little sourdough starter kit with some dried starter, maybe a
Uh-huh.
Danish dough whisk, and a
Uh-huh.
proofing basket.
Uh-huh.
And then there are a couple of other really cheap things you can do. So non-food items,
Yes.
you can make simmer pot sacks. So
Mhm.
just slice up some oranges or whatever kind of citrus or apples
Uh-huh.
and dry those out, and then throw those in a bag with a couple of cinnamon sticks, a couple of whole cloves, and maybe a sprig or two of fresh rosemary.
Uh-huh.
And people just put it in there. You tie a ribbon around it with instructions. You just dump it into a pot of water, like a big
Right.
pot of water, and let it simmer, and it'll make their whole house smell like delicious potpourri.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great idea. Definitely.
And
Uh-huh.
then pomaders. I don't know if I grew up making them. You take oranges and you stud them with cloves, and it
Oh,
helps
yes.
preserve the oranges, but it also gives off this wonderful scent, and it lasts for over a month.
Does
It
it really?
And you can do it in like a pretty pattern too. You don't have to cover the whole thing. So
Oh,
like
yes.
you can like make little strips around it, or you can make little stars.
Uh-huh.
And it's a fun thing to do with kids too.
Yeah.
And it's so cheap. And
Mhm.
those are really fun to put inside of stockings too, because it makes the
Right.
whole stocking smell really good.
Yeah.
And then if you're really on a budget, there are plenty of ways that you can actually use scraps, like
Yes.
spent vanilla pods or citrus rinds.
Uh-huh.
You can infuse vodka or whiskey. You can make flavored sugars or salts. You can make homemade all natural cleaners or room sprays. And then you
Right.
can also do bath salts and body scrubs.
Uh-huh.
Um, Coffee grinds make an excellent body scrub if you mix them with some salt or sugar and some
Uh-huh.
oil. And you can put different scents in there with essential oils, but you can do the
Uh-huh.
same thing with Epsom salts, or you could do a salt and sugar scrub if you don't want to do coffee grinds. But
Right.
they're lots of ways to just do really, really cheap but
Definitely. And
thoughtful
this
gifts.
thoughtful, exactly. I love those last gifts are really inexpensive, but it's thoughtful that you're making them and they're actually really, really nice gifts. They're really nice gifts also. That's
And you can
great.
make them look fancy too if you get, the pretty mason jars, like the French kind.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there are so many different kinds of mason jars out there. So you can also dress up the way you present the gift by the packaging as well. That's great. I love all those ideas. And best of all, you really aren't going to have to go fight with the shoppers out there, the crazy shoppers that are rummaging at the last minute looking for gifts.
Exactly.
And you
Yeah,
won't have
just
to
use
wait in
your
like
pantry.
exactly, not hour-long lines for whatever you're buying. Most of the stuff that you just mentioned, everybody probably has in their pantry, so they can just grab it at home. That's great, and you'll be able to spend more time relaxing at home.
Yeah.
Great. Ashley, thank you so much. So hopefully you'll be coming back in the new year and give us some tips for maybe cleaning. I know January and February people kind of it's like the new year and people kind of start organizing and stuff like
I
that.
love to do, I'll give you guys more about it when I come back in January, but I like to do a
Yes,
no spend grocery month in January, and it helps you clean out your whole pantry.
great. That's a great idea. So we'll look forward to that in January, definitely. Great. All right, Ashley. Well, Merry Christmas and have a happy
Merry
holiday and a
Christmas.
healthy new year. And yes, we look forward to hearing about that in January.
Awesome. Happy holidays to you and to all the listeners, too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Join me on a mouth-watering journey through Italy with my Gourmand World Award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, which brings you authentic recipes, heartwarming stories, and a dash of Mediterranean magic. Whether you're a seasoned chef or a beginner, these books will awaken your inner food artist. Get ready to say ciao to delicious adventures. And you can find the Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, at Amazon.com on Kindle and on marialiberati.com and the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And my special guest today is Mini Mukherjee, and she is an award-winning sculptor turned art director. She's got some fascinating things coming up that she's going to tell us about today. And Mini, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Maria, for having me.
So you have an interesting background. I have like a smattering of all types of things in my background too. So I love it that you have a lot of different things in your background too, as far as different careers. I love the way you've combined things and gone from one thing to another that doesn't seem related, but in some way they possibly are related. So tell us how you got started in the world of art.
Yes, it's a great question. And so it was in a lot of ways, it was my start in art was a bit of a happy accident. Let's just
Uh-huh.
say that because I had a pretty set track. I went to school for finance, did all my internships in finance and on Wall Street, and then moved right into the finance world for several years. And so I mean, and that was what I really focused in on. But then I did notice that whenever I had time away, which was rare because I was working a lot, uh, is I would find ways to stay connected to my creativity, whether
Uh-huh.
that was journaling, whether, I mean, I was based out in New York. So there's just that city is just teeming with creative energy. And anytime I could sneak away to the Met, I
Uh,
would. And a lot of my friends were in the creative world as well.
uh-huh.
And I think that helped me to keep an open mind that you can evolve as a person and as you get to know the world more, and you get to know yourself more, that if you stay true to that like quiet voice inside of you, that it will guide you to the right path. And that path has been, I guess, someone on paper, it looks like, oh, from finance to fine art. But what happened was is that I decided to do an apprenticeship at a jeweler's studio. And that's where I started working with metal and immersing myself in the beauty of transformative properties of working with metal.
Uh-huh.
And so it sounds a little woo woo, but it kind of came to me a bit in a dream. And
Uh-huh.
so I had a dream one night, and there's like this gleaming, like flash of what I took as, silver, and then it was gold. And literally the next day, I looked for an apprenticeship, and there was an incredible jeweler studio right down the street from where I lived. It was as if it was meant to be. And I still keep in touch with that mentor,
Uh-huh.
that amazing jeweler today. And so that's how that's the really early stage of how I got started. And then I started exhibiting, creating work. I got a studio, and I just didn't look back. And so I don't necessarily think that it's, oh, once you go into art, there's nothing else. I just believe that you put one foot in front of the other, you keep
Mhm.
listening to your voice, and then the map starts to kind of fill out of how to get from point A to point B to point C. And I'm still figuring that out now too.
Exactly. I think we all are really, but that's absolutely right. And you'll find that, I found that so many things that, people think one thing isn't related to another, but there are so many ways that different aspects of different topics are it's all related in some way, shape, or form. So there could be something, related from finance that kind of you gravitated toward art, but some of the skills you had to use with finance, you're using with art too. And lots of things are all related, no matter how obvious they may or may not be. So tell us about your, I guess, what is your latest work or the latest work that you can tell us about?
All right, because so I have some new work coming out in the spring of 2025,
Right.
and it feels really good to be kind of on the tail end of a very, very busy couple of years now of
Uh-huh.
just getting back into the work, getting back into the craft. And since becoming a mother, it has meant, even the studio time has meant even more to just have that focused time. Um, and to your point about things that don't seemingly seem related on the
Mhm.
surface, but are. And so in finance, I was oftentimes telling stories with numbers, and
Mhm.
now I'm just telling stories with visuals. And
Right.
so in 2017, when I was starting kind of my first set of like showcases and exhibitions, I
Mhm.
created a sculpture. It was 150-pound sculpture, it's an all metal, and I had never created something. It was like 6 feet by 4 feet. It's a they're a bit of a beast of a
Right.
metal,
Yes.
but they were called the Joy Buddies, and
Right.
it was kind of a time in the country where in my life, there was just so much political strife
Uh-huh.
and cultural tension happening, and that was kind of the beginning of that in a lot of ways of what has transpired for the last several years. So when I had the opportunity, I was notified that I got accepted into the show. Uh, it's a very large show, as Art Prize, which was at the time the world's largest um, exhibition in the country. And so I said, if I had one message that I wanted to bring, I was such a newbie to the art world. I said, if I
Right.
had a message, what would I like to bring
Uh-huh.
um, to people on a larger stage? And that was one of unity,
Uh-huh.
connection, and going beyond skin color.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been my journey to date. And so that is what Joy Buddies was like, the concept was about.
Uh-huh.
And I also was thinking the feeling of joy. I was just so joyful. I was in such a joyful state. And to be frank, I hadn't fallen on my face yet as an artist.
It's an
And
art.
so the next body of work that we're coming out with, and it's a we now because there's an amazing team of award-winning artists that have come in to collaborate on different mediums,
Uh-huh.
not just the sculptures. But it's like why I thought, okay, I need to bring back the message of Joy Buddies, the one of being better together, stronger together, of unity. Why I brought that forward is I think that we still need it as a nation
Uh-huh.
and as a world. Uh, but as I have evolved, the buddies have evolved as well. So
Uh-huh.
they were and shiny and perfect when they first debuted. And
Uh-huh.
now what the work is about is showing the spectrum of joy, joy through resilience, which
Mm-hmm.
is what a lot of these last couple of years have been about for people.
Huh?
Joy, focusing on joy through a means of survival,
Mm-hmm.
um, joy through like oftentimes feeling that your darkest moments are right next to the most happiest ones. I mean, this is
Right.
the experience. And so you're the people that come to know the Joy Buddies in this next iteration.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a much more multifaceted aspect to them. We're going to be touching on themes of, yes, resilience, play, joy, faith, all of the good stuff, and just a wider spectrum of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That sounds really exciting. So, I know you have all these exciting things coming up, and I know we had in your introduction that you are an art director. So tell us about that also.
Yes. Thanks for asking about that because that's
Sure.
the next when I was just speaking about evolution or
Yes.
theme is that I think because I haven't been in the art world for my whole career, is
Huh?
that I am very open to the mixture of um instead of just me, it's a
Huh?
we. And when I was thinking about well, the vision for this next iteration of Joy Buddies, and so much has happened in my life personally, of course, going through the pandemic, but then also my husband and I became parents and continuing to create work in a pretty politically crazy environment.
Uh-huh.
And I said, oh, to kind of bring the ethos of Joy Buddies to life, it has always been a shared vision. It's
Uh-huh.
strong, it's made stronger by people coming together.
Uh-huh.
So this is when I went and recruited and interviewed and was built. I've been building this team for this past year, and I'm really excited to and partners as well as this next body work. I can't say too much about the specifics of it yet. I want to leave it as a little bit of a surprise, but um,
Yes.
I'm when the time is right. And I mean, to be frank, Maria and I had a little bit of an inside scoop chat before this, and
Yes.
so we might do something fun when that
Yes,
comes.
so it's lots of exciting things coming up, trust me, but I know you can't reveal it yet. So I guess
I
we're
can't.
finding out in January, I think you said. January.
Yes, there's an event that's happening in January that we will share we'll
Uh-huh.
share information of that a little closer to the date. But that's kind
Yes.
of, yeah, we'll be beginning the new year's in full Joy Buddies fashion. So just carrying on the season of joy into the new year.
Oh, that's great.
And so one thing I did want to bring up is that
Uh-huh.
going from artist to art director, I'll forever be an artist. Now that I've found really my creative voice, I've invested in it for years. Um, Moving to from a me to a we is, I, I think that there's a way to uphold your artistic integrity
Uh-huh.
and also uh, be generous in sharing your vision with others. It's just been such a joy this past year um, to expand upon the Joy Buddies vision and to see
Mm-hmm.
life through and to see them, these characters that are abstract beings. They have no face. They are personifying joy at a very abstract level.
Uh-huh.
Uh, to see it through other artists' lens.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I'm really looking forward to getting the audience's feedback of when we do debut.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, definitely. Sounds really exciting. So, Minnie, if anyone wants to see the Joy Buddies, I guess that you created in the past, can we go, like, is it online? Can we look up, is there a site we can direct people to?
Yes, yes, there is my Instagram, which is
Okay.
Mini Mighty Art. Um,
Okay.
well, it's yeah, at Mini But Mighty Art. And then there's the website right now, which is minibutmightyart.com.
Okay.
There will be a closer to launch. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be newsletters, and there's going to be a dedicated site and dedicated social campaign. And
Uh-huh.
so there's all of that. But in the meantime, would love to connect on MBMA or Mini But Mighty Art on
Right,
Instagram.
mini ribbon. Okay, that's great. Yes, and so everybody can connect with you, and we will certainly do that also. I'll certainly be doing that too. So you're on Instagram, and then you have the website, and I know you did win a few awards. Tell us about before we leave, because I forgot to ask you about the awards that you have won.
Yes. So I have won, I should write these out. But it
You
is,
don't, I don't want to give you like a test, but if you
no, no,
remember any of yes, I know, it's this, I do the same thing. You can't always remember,
I
yes.
know. I mean, especially you, Maria. It's all on my website, but
Oh, there you go.
and then also on so I've been um curator's choice in
Wow.
several exhibitions.
Uh-huh.
I've had two solo shows. I've had, in terms of awards, I started out kind of, in the beginning of my career becoming the 2017 Emerging Artist of the Year. I was awarded that by Whitehall Gallery. And so there's been, I placed into top 15, top 25,
Uh-huh.
see art, the kind of thing. So it's
Yes,
a mixture it's been a
of
mixture of
different.
words and I guess recognition.
Yeah, so people can go on Mini But Mighty Art and check out, and they'll see all your awards and things, which is great. And they can get a taste of your art there, and then look forward to the new work that is coming in January after the new year as well. That's
I'm
really
excited. Thank
exciting. I
you.
can't wait to see that. Sounds really exciting. So, definitely, and I love the Joy Buddies concept. Definitely. That's great, Minnie. So I guess we'll hear from you'll let us know, you'll reach out and let us know when that's released so we can let everybody know. So we'll put the link to minibutmighty.com. Is it minibutmightyart, right? .com
It's
on
minibutart.com.
.com. Okay,
It's
so we'll put that on the marialiberati.show.com website so people, if you don't remember it from listening to it, it will be there. And so people can follow you also and look at your website to find your artwork. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Maria. And thank you to your audience as well.
Oh, yes. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks as always to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guest. And you can find some information on this week's special guest on the blog for the podcast at themarialiberatishow.com. And as always, you can find me at marialiberati.com, at, Facebook at chefmarialiberati.com, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on Twitter or X at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, and you can also find me at Vimeo at Maria Liberati. There you'll find videos, cooking videos, and some other videos. You can also find videos and audio podcasts on our YouTube channel called The Maria Liberati Show, and you can find my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, at artoflivingprimamedia.com or on Amazon or Kindle. And if you can't find the books for whatever reason, you can certainly email info@marialiberati.com and just let us know, and we will make sure you get a copy of one of my many Gourmand World award-winning books in the series. And I will be doing some cooking classes. I'll be doing my Tour of Italy cooking program at the Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania. If you happen to be in that area in the month of January and February, I have some classes coming up there, and you can call the Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania. Call their continuing education department, and they will let you know when the classes will be. And registration is limited, so they'll let you know if there are spots open. Please join me. And as always, peace, love, and pasta. See you next week.